All right, here we go. It's looking here like the Jacob Blake interview on ABC News Good Morning America. They left out a piece where now we're just gonna read a little bit before you go we go into it. Just comment, like, share, subscribe. All right. So it says ABC News this morning. Good Morning America interviewed Jacob Blake this morning. That was yesterday morning. And Blake was partially paralyzed after one of the bullets hit his spine and is now in a wheelchair. Overall, my impression is that the Good Morning America host Michael Strahan did a decent job with the interview. This is from Hot Air, so John Sexton. So it's going to be a little bit of a bend to it, and which is fine. But I want to skip down. So the interview opens with Blake admitting he resisted arrest, saying he was afraid that he'd end up like George Floyd with the police officers on his neck. Here's the thing. When you would say something like that, obviously you're trying to elicit, you're trying to get some kind of reaction out of people. And so people will sit there, even though it's a bullcrap claim, you will sit there and say, oh, well, yeah, I really feel your pain there. That's what this right here is. It says, he didn't want to end up with, like George Floyd, but as, Blake tells the story, there are other elements that did not make sense. According to Blake, he was putting his kids in a car to get them away from the neighborhood fight. But as Good Morning America points out, the reason police were called was because the car wasn't his. It was a rental belonging to LaQuisha, Lord, Booker, the mother of his kids. She had asked for the keys back and he refused to return them to her. The Good Morning America voiceover notes that police learned that Blake had a felony warrant for domestic violence before arriving at the scene. And here's the first noteworthy admission. Good Morning America does not explain to viewers that once the officers encountered Blake, they have no choice but to arrest him for the warrant. That is true. He has a felony warrant. There's no choice but to arrest him. There's no discretion under which they can decide to allow him to leave. There's another omission related to the warrant, which is significant. After the shooting, Blake told investigators that he didn't know why officers were trying to arrest him and that he didn't know he had a felony warrant for his arrest. But investigators found a text message on his phone in which Blake mentioned having a warrant for his arrest. He only had one, so there's no confusion about which warrant. So there, he already know he has a felony warrant. And people are going to wonder why this guy that the cops never got charged. But of course, no one really cares because they got the civil unrest and bullcrap that they wanted. So let me keep on going here. Investigators looked at the internet search history and he found that he had looked up information on his own warrant on a police website. So when Blake claims in this interview, I had nothing to do, I had done nothing, so I didn't feel like they were there for me, that is just not true. He had done something, and the moment he saw the police, he must have known they were there because of his warrant. Blake then claimed that someone, he didn't know who, grabbed his arm. He says he had a reaction. The way the video is cut up here, it seems like it's Blake's response had been edited. What is the reaction? Maybe he's reenacting it for the camera, but the editor cuts away to Michael Strahan's face so we can't see him. The impression is that Blake pulled his arm away or elbowed the police, but he didn't realize who it was until the police responded by slamming him up against the car. I'm telling you, if they're actively editing this interview, I'm just letting you know now, these people are a danger to black people. They're a danger to the America as a whole because you're intentionally. This isn't even something where you mean well. You don't mean well when you intentionally do things like this. You don't mean well. Let's keep going. They didn't say why they were there. Strahan asked. Blake responds in a negative. Did they tell you that they had a warrant for your arrest? And Blake said no. Now, if we remember back, Blake had already on his cell phone been looking up for felony warrants. He looked up his warrant. He looked up everything. So he already knew. According to the officers, they didn't grab Blake from behind. So he's already a liar at this point, right? So it's really hard to believe this. And I would love to to think that Michael Strahan knows this fool is a liar right now. I would love to think that. According to officers, they didn't grab Blake from behind. They claimed that he had turned and looked directly at them after putting a child in the car, and the officers told him that he had a warrant before they tried to arrest him. Again, the fact that Good Morning America is not telling viewers that Blake texted about the warrant and searched for information on his phone prior to the encounter, and that he later lied to investigators about it, seems like a big omission. It doesn't seem, it is. It calls into question his credibility about much of what happened that day. Why would Good Morning America leave that out? Because they're freaking liars, fraudsters, and fakes. Because they don't mean well for black people. That's why. I'm going to say it where this white guy that wrote this article can't say it. Because these fools don't give a damn about black people. That's why they left it out. It's all about power for these people. And they don't give a damn if they put people, honestly, put people like this fool in wheelchairs to do it. And get people shot and killed, like many others, just to do it. And what I mean by that is, I'm going on his words. He didn't want to end up like George Floyd. Well, George Floyd was overdosing and fighting with the police. That's what got him killed. So let's stop with the bullcrap. What a lot of other black people, when you see the police, for the most part, you've rarely ever seen where it's any other way. Comply. That's all. Let's try that first. Let's just try that first. Moving on. Good Morning America does point out there was a physical struggle and that police believe Blake was reaching for a knife, which wound up in his hand. Blake admits that he had a knife, which he claims dropped to the ground during the struggle. He says he reached down and grabbed it before walking away. Now here's the question. Why did he have a knife in his pocket in the first place? He didn't get that whenever he went, for the police. I mean, before he had it before it sounds like he had it before the police even got there. So what the hell was he doing with the freaking knife? First of all, right? So moving on, Blake admits he had a knife, which he claims he dropped to the ground during the struggle. He said he reached down and grabbed it before walking away. I shouldn't have picked it up, Blake now admits, adding, I wasn't thinking clearly. People got their businesses burnt down for this. There was physical struggles. Kyle Rittenhouse is out on bail because of this. America saw a lot of unrest because of this. Black people are dying because of this. Because of this lie. And I'm supposed to sit back and just say that this all makes sense. At this point, it says I shouldn't have picked it up. At this point, there's another edit and Strahan jumps in and helps explain Blake's alleged plan. You were thinking once you get the knife into your car, you were going to say, and Strahan said, and Blake interjected, throw myself to the ground and put my arms behind my back. They freaking coached this goddamn me. They coached this fool. This doesn't make any sense. Blake had just had a physical fight with the police. He has been tased 3 times and he's walking away with a knife in his hand. We're supposed to believe that he was about to surrender if he could only get the knife in his car? Why? Once he picks up the knife, why does he have to put it in the car? Why can't he just drop it on the street? But see, this person is asking the obvious questions. Like, look, man, hey, I got this knife. You could have easily just said, look, hey, y'all, I got this knife, and I don't want it to be seen as a weapon against y'all. And here, hey, I'm coming. Here I come. Y'all have me. I'm not making it out of this. I'm not making it out of this. Or could it have been that he had just committed violence against a woman that was in the house that actually called the police on him. And he was scared that she was going to say something about this knife. Or that knife will add a little bit of context to why he was there. Okay, Strahan even asked this question, though he puts it in the mouths of the skeptics. Though he puts it in the mouths of the skeptics, not himself. Why didn't he just stop and do what the police were asking him to do? At this time, the video shows the police were shouting, "Drop the knife." I couldn't hear, Blake responded. All I heard was screaming, screaming. My ears were ringing, so it was all muffled. Yeah, right. Even Strahan thinks this is all too much. If the police were fighting me, if they were tasing me, I would stop walking right away. I would stop walking away from them, and I would have, and they would have my attention, he said. Blake replied, I mean, I am not left. I had not left and tried to run at that point. One last time, the whole sequence of events here is Blake trying to leave the scene in a car that doesn't belong to him. Police are called to stop him, and they try to arrest him. He fights them off, walks away from them with a knife in his hand, and seems to be trying to get into the car. It looks like he was trying to leave, and that's exactly why the police thought, exactly what the police thought was happening. The idea that Blake was a second from surrendering, if he only could put the knife in the car, doesn't make sense. B, is inconsistent with ever action he'd taken up to that point. Good Morning America does note that Blake had previously been arrested for attempting to resist police and flee police. Good Morning America does point out that the previous instance in 2010 also involved Blake waving a knife at a group of officers as they tried to arrest him. Why not mention there that seems to be a pattern here? Absolutely. Strahan closes this segment by saying more of the interview will be available tonight. Here's a portion of that that's being, that's going to be aired this morning. And I'm going to link that in the description. But the thing is that, are we just going to sit back and just let these people lie to us? Is that what we're going to do? We're just going to sit back and just let these people lie? Because that's exactly what they're doing to you. And I can tell you this, just like I said before, just like if it's not a kid's, if nothing is ever a kid's fault, what kind of kid do you create? If nothing is ever black people's fault, what kind of people do you create? Comment, like, share, subscribe, and see you in the next one. All right.